I will never be a memory.
And what's going on, Read My Lips people? We are back. Back like we ain't never left, baby. So, oh boy. It seems the Dems and the Republicans, even in a time of crisis, even in a pandemic, can't get along. Now, shit's gotten real. I had a conference call today, and we were supposed to look back and reassess if the store was going to open again this weekend. Obviously, it's not. My place of business is not going to reopen this weekend, and as a matter of fact, we're going to be closed all throughout April. So it's a temporary furlough. And during that time, no one will be getting paid. I won't be getting paid. My employees won't be getting paid. We're sort of in a limbo, right? It's not an ideal situation. Obviously I was, excited, hopefully, hoping to get back to work, next week, but that's not happening. It's not the reality of the situation. So nobody's working all through April. But here's the scary part of it. They will keep giving us benefits throughout April. So we'll still have health care and health benefits throughout April. After that, it's gone. We're on our own as far as healthcare goes. This is the shit that everyday people are going through. Like I said, I'm in the trenches of this shit. I can relate to everything that everybody else is going through. And we all have bills, right? I had to pay my car payment today. That didn't get suspended, So while we're going through this bullshit, through this crisis, what's going on with the Dems and the Republicans are they can't come to an agreement, or pretty much we're deadlocked over the coronavirus economic stimulus bill. So all over social media, I saw people saying, you're not going to get your money because the Democrats blocked it. Nancy Pelosi doesn't like it. And then people were blaming the Republicans. People were blaming the Democrats. Let's just say I had to snooze a lot of motherfuckers for 30 plus days. Just time out, sit down, and shut up for a while. Because if you don't know what you're talking about, stop putting on social media and delving out misinformation. So I'm just going to read you a little bit. I have a clip. It's a long clip. Of about AOC talking about the situation. I won't play the full clip, but I'll play a decent amount because she really rips into them, and I don't always agree with her, right? But in this scenario, I do. But let's just read this. So Senate leaders and Trump administration appeared closer to reaching bipartisan agreement Monday evening on a massive stimulus bill that could inject $2 trillion into the economy to blunt the impacts of the coronavirus. After a day of partisan rancor and posturing on Capitol Hill, the outlook grew remarkably more positive later in the afternoon, when offers and counteroffers were exchanged. Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer spoke to Democrats on a conference call and told them that he was hopeful about striking a deal by the end of the day. According to a person familiar with the call who spoke on the condition of anonymity, to reveal the details. Schumer was very upbeat, according to another Democrat, who listened into the call and spoke on the condition of being anonymous to describe it. Some senators encouraged Schumer to announce a deal in principle Monday evening, but several issues remained unsolved. And Trump told reporters that a deal was near and drawing closer, and that got people excited. Trump said they have to get it together and just stop with the partisan politics, and I think it's happening. I got a call a little while ago. It should go quickly, and it must go quickly. It's not really a choice. They don't have a choice. Let's just make a deal. So overall, the legislation is aimed at flooding the economy with capital to revive businesses and households that have been knocked off course by fears about the virus's rapid spread. Though details remain fluid, the legislation would include direct payments of, this is what everybody's familiar with. Most people don't know all the other shit, but this is what people are familiar with. It would include direct payments of $1,200 to many American adults and $500 to children, and would create a roughly $850 billion in loans and assistance programs for businesses, states, and cities. There would also be a large spending increase for the unemployment insurance program, as well as hospitals and healthcare providers that are being overwhelmed by the crisis. Democrats have concerns, and those concerns have focused on a $500 billion funding program Republicans want to create for loans and loans guarantees, while some Democrats are calling it a slush fund that lacks any oversight because the Treasury Department would have broad discretion over who receives the money. Asked about this Monday evening, Trump responded, I'll be the oversight. So the situation was in flux, and a handful of issues were unresolved Monday evening after 4 straight days of unsuccessful attempts to finalize the deal, including 2 procedural votes that Democrats blocked. It was quite possible that any provisional agreements would fall apart, senators and aides said, but some key players were sounding increasingly positive. So several unresolved issues included under the jurisdiction of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee related to student loans and other issues, according to one Democratic aide who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss private deliberations. Negotiators were also working on how to tailor large pots of money that were supposed to be dispersed to the airline industry, state governments, and others. So all you've been seeing is, and I'm not a Nancy Pelosi fan, but all you've been seeing is, yep, Nancy Pelosi's holding up your money. Nancy Pelosi's holding up your money. Nancy this, Nancy that. Nancy's blocking it. The Republicans want to give you the money, but Nancy's blocking it. These people aren't looking at what else is in the bills. They're really not. And most people don't realize that when they pass a bill, it may have something in it that you like, but there could be several other things in the bill that fucks you over. And so the Democrats are blocking everything because they don't like what else the Republicans are putting in the bill. Now, look, I've said many, many times, now's not the time to play red versus blue. Right? I don't want to play red versus blue. I don't want to go back and forth because we're in a time of crisis and shit just needs to get done. But at the same time, I don't want shit getting slipped through in a bill that would be harmful to us in the future. So I have mixed feelings on this. I have mixed feelings on them blocking the bills. I have mixed feelings on this whole process in general. But what I will say is time's of the essence. We don't have time for this. We really don't. So the Democrats are saying, this is what they're arguing. They're saying that the Senate GOP bill is disproportionately tilted towards helping companies and needs to extend more benefits to families and healthcare providers. That's the gist of it. So the Republicans aren't giving a fuck about you, and they're willing to help businesses, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with helping businesses and companies and small businesses. They all need to be helped too. But the same help you're giving them, families need to be proportionately helped as well. Boom, boom. Don't say, all right, here you go families and people, and here you go companies. We're not having that shit. Democrats want it fair. They want it equal. And I understand that. So Republicans have countered that the measure offers unprecedented financial assistance to the entire economy and needs to be passed before more people lose their jobs. Some economists have projected that more than 3 million people were laid off last week as business and consumers pulled back, and those numbers are only expected to grow. The vote Monday was 49-46, well short of the 60-vote threshold needed to advance the legislation for the final debate. This has got to stop, and today is the day it has to stop, McConnell was saying. So Senator Joe Manchin said that the bill, with its $500 billion program for businesses, states, and cities, will make the Senate look more focused on big corporations and the health of Wall Street than we are on the health care of people in rural America and Main Street. They need to get this figured out. They need to get this figured out. People need that money. And look, it's really fucked up because a lot of people are out of a job right now and they're not getting any income. Like most jobs aren't like doing that whole paid leave bullshit. That legislation that got through for paid leave only affected 20% of, workers. So look, man, this is frustrating. This is annoying. This is really annoying. And, time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. That's all I got to say. Time is of the essence. You can look out for businesses, but you have to look out for the people. We've bailed Wall Street out already. We've done that already. We've bailed them out. During the subprime mortgage crisis, we bailed them out. And I don't know if you saw, but a couple videos ago, somebody was saying, like, this isn't going to be as bad as back then. This is not going to be anywhere as bad. And, like, was literally, like, trying to debate me about how this situation isn't that bad. Bro, I haven't seen anything like this in my 30 plus years on this earth. Nothing. I haven't seen anything like this. My mother hasn't seen anything like this. This is unprecedented. 30, what did it estimate? 30, it's going to be a 30% unemployment? Or something along those lines? That's huge. That's massive. So this is serious, and I just have a little bit of AOC talking about it. Now, I don't know why Sanders is in the clip as well. Was she talking to Sanders? I think she might have been talking to Sanders, but he didn't say much of it. He didn't say anything. So here's a little bit of AOC talking about it, and then we'll come back.
Of course, Bernie. Thanks for having me, and I hope you're doing well out in Vermont. So, I mean, today, this is, what we're seeing today, and, you covered so many of these issues, is what we're seeing today with this Senate GOP bill is just a complete mockery of public service. We're supposed to be here to help people. And what Mitch McConnell and the Republicans in the Senate just presented was just a package of corporate sweeteners to hand a blank check to Trump and Mnuchin that is secret, that we won't even know who they're doling money out to. And then they're just slapping the name coronavirus on top of it. But this bill does not help working families at all. And what we really need to focus on are the core solutions. As you mentioned, going into this mess, the average American, or most Americans had about, or rather a large plurality of Americans, had less than $400 saved. About 40% of Americans had less than $400 saved for an emergency. Now, all of a sudden, the entire country is experiencing this shock at once with surging unemployment. Today, an official from the St. Louis Fed just announced that we may see up to 30% unemployment rates. At the peak of the Great Depression, we saw 24% unemployment. So this is something unlike anything that we have ever seen. So there are two main things that we need to do economically. One is that we need to get money into the hands of working people. Everyone first of all, and it needs to be universal and unconditional. There are folks that want to apply a means test to make it based on how much money you made in 2018. It's as though these folks have never lived real life, as though we just repeat our salary year after year in the same way, and that every American experiences life like that. And we all know that that's just not true. Just 2 years ago, if someone was going off of my 2018 income, it would be a bartender's income. And we need to realize how much life changes every year for Americans. And so that's one thing. We need to make sure that we're getting money in to everybody immediately. But the second thing we need to do is to stop money out. And we've been able to be successful at some of this in the state of New York. As you may know, Bernie, and for everyone who's tuning in, New York right now is shaping up to be one of the epicenters of this crisis. We are the largest city in the United States. very densely populated. We share public transit and all sorts of things. And we are having thousands of cases pop up throughout the state. And I have several hospitals in my district. I have Elmhurst Hospital. I have Jacobi Medical Center. We have New York Presbyterian nearby. We have Montefiore Hospital. And these are hospitals that serve working people. They serve immigrant populations. They serve working class populations. And basically what coronavirus has done is poured gasoline on every slow rolling crisis that we have been experiencing in the United States and just set it on fire for everyone all at once. So now you have folks who are afraid to go to the hospital because of their documentation status. They're afraid to go to the hospital because they don't know how much the bill will be just for them to go and get treated. And that, of course, exacerbates the situation because people don't want to go in and get a test. They don't want to get, they're afraid of the cost of this treatment if they're uninsured or underinsured. Now you have the entire whole blown through the argument as to why employment should be the reason why you have healthcare or not, or rather why your healthcare status should be conditional based on your employment. And not just whether you have insurance or not, but the quality of care that you get or not, being dependent on your employer. It's wrong. We have long been talking about how healthcare should be treated as a human right in the United States, why we need Medicare for all. And this is one huge case study as to why this is so important. So we have to make sure that we're taking care of people, that we're getting money in, and again, that we're also halting money out. That means mortgage, rent, and debt payments should all be suspended until people can get their feet under them. And we need to make sure that that people aren't continuing to get fleeced or being targeted by predatory lenders as well. And so, right now, because Trump has essentially abdicated leadership of this country to each individual governor, we're currently in this situation where governors are competing for resources, but also that these solutions are kind of chipping away state by state. So what we've been able to accomplish in the state of New York is secure a mortgage moratorium and an eviction and foreclosure moratorium. That's well and good. But if you're going to pass a mortgage moratorium without also passing a rent moratorium, what you are doing is that you are providing relief to people, largely, at least in the city of New York, based on their class, and that you're providing higher relief to people who are landowners or landlords. And so one thing that I'm currently pushing is that I've been calling up Albany and making sure that we push a rent moratorium before April 1st, before the first of the month when everyone's rent checks are due. We're in active conversations about that. I'm hoping that we're able to get this done in the next week because it's going to be extraordinarily important. Student loan debt is another massive another massive amount of money that goes out to people that we also need to halt. And that is something that is totally within our power within the federal government. As most people know, we advocate for cancellation of student loan debt. But even just pressing the pause button is something that you could snap your fingers and do tomorrow if there was political will and if we had a White House that cared about working people. So that is something that we have to make sure that we put the political pressure on. But again, all of these, the reason we are here and the reason this crisis is hitting us so hard is because we have one of the worst healthcare systems in the developed world. We pay less than a living wage to a shamefully large amount of workers in the United States. Paid sick leave is not guaranteed. And we have to make sure that people have basic rights and as well as labor rights. So all of these things are contributing factors as to why this is hitting us so hard. But then you take that economic piece and you layer on inequities of race and immigration status, and you see how things can get even worse.
So, yeah, she's on the money. She's on the money. And Pelosi, who I usually don't agree with, she said something. She said, Democrats take responsibility for our workers. We require that any corporation that takes taxpayer dollars must protect their workers' wages in benefits, not CEO pay, stock buybacks, or layoffs. So, really, right now, it's a fight of corporations versus workers in this bill. That's really what's going on. And, you know, all I got to say is Republicans need to get it together. They need to get it together. Whatever you're doing for the corporations, great. Do the same for the people. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Pelosi, I think she offered a version of the bill too. It's a $2.5 trillion plus package, and it would send $1,500 to individual Americans, pump money into the healthcare system, unemployment insurance, and schools, and also in it, airlines and other companies that receive aid, they would receive aid to pay at least a $15 an hour minimum wage. So look, the Democrats seemingly have our best interests at hand in this scenario. That's the way it's looking. But it's getting ugly. It's getting ugly, and it needs to be fixed immediately. So I just wanted to touch on that real quick because I saw it going back and forth about, oh, Pelosi doesn't want you to get any money. Pelosi's blocking it. It's her fault. And people are lying about like the vote count and everything. Like, when you're just spreading misinformation and slander, you gotta go. Like if we disagree, if I happen to have you on any of my social media and we disagree, fine. I'm always down to hear your story. When you're purposely slandering and spreading misinformation, you gotta go because you're of no help. You're not helping anything. So yeah, what do you guys think? Whose side are you on? Are you with Pelosi? Do you think she's doing the right thing, or do you think she should just shut up and they should all just vote for the bill that the Republicans were trying to get through and just give these people this $1,200? Like, what do you think? What do you think? I mean, I'm torn. I'm kind of torn because we need that money and we need it now. And so the longer this goes on, the longer it's going to take to get that money. But at the same time, who really wants to cave? It's a tough situation. It's a tough situation. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And look, it's been what? A week and a half? What are your thoughts? Like, how is this affecting you guys? I know so much has transpired within the last week or week and a half that, people that were working or might have still been employed are no longer. I know past today, it started today. We're not on a lockdown in Connecticut. Like, you can leave the house and go wherever you want, but no businesses, unless you're essential, are open or they'll get a fine. Like, at one point, they weren't fining businesses. They were highly suggesting they close, but they weren't really enforcing it. Now it's enforced. If you're not an essential business, you will get fined. So, how's this affecting you guys? How many people are you guys out of work? Are you essential employees? What's going on with you guys? Let me know. And what are your thoughts on what AOC said? Again, I haven't agreed with everything AOC has ever said. Her and I have had disagreements about Yang's UBI policy before. She called it regressive and stuff like that. But sometimes she's on the money. Sometimes. So, and love her or hate her, she is the future of politics. I know that may bother some people, but she's going to be in this shit for a long time. I can tell you that right now. So yeah, let me know your thoughts below. So if you like what you see, if you like what you hear, please like, comment, subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Just hip thrust that like button. If you don't, let me know in the comment section why. I'm always down to talk about it. I have a Cash App, a PayPal, and a Venmo link in the description below. Please feel free to donate to the channel now more than ever. Every little bit is appreciated. Hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon. Have a good one. Peace.